Tourist for the Stars, a lighthearted sci-fi adventure by J.N. Wdowski. For your full enjoyment, be sure to read or listen to the end. Chapter 2. 82. Eridani III. 4 months later. The Jaeger interstellar freighter landed softly with bursts of retro rockets upon the landing pad at the spaceport of the third planet's business capital. Dodge and Jackie, the only passengers on the ship, descended from the forward gangplank. At the much larger rear gangplank, robots and one human supervisor were unloading goods from the human alliance of planets. Dodge looked up at the alien G-type yellow dwarf sun, which hung in the light blue sky. "Not much different to our sun," he commented. "I feel ridiculous." Jackie complained, wearing an ankle-length white skirt with a short white top that exposed her flat belly and enhanced her bust. Over her nose and mouth, she wore a fine white lace veil. She kept blowing the veil as she spoke. "When in Rome," Dodge responded. He pointed out that all the violet-skinned native females dressed the same. Their large, cat-like eyes smiled above their veils. In contrast, Dodge wore a pair of jeans, a clean new white button-down shirt with collar. Upon his head, he wore a white leather cowboy hat. On his right hip, a sidearm hung low for quick draw. His back was weighted down with a backpack of 4 5-pound bags of coffee beans. The men of Eridani III were dressed and armed much the same, minus the backpack and no cowboy hats. Their hair was short and white, except for several long hairs braided near their temples, much like a hussar horseman from the Napoleonic Wars. The ship's captain, a tall, red-haired man in his 50s, came up behind them with his first officer. "Remember, Mr. and Mrs. Ringo, we will be departing in 24 hours. "Sure, Captain." Dodge touched the rim of his hat. The captain seriously responded, "Whatever your business is here, you have only 24 hours. Another Earth ship will not be heading this way for a few months if you're lucky." 24 hours, Dodge confirmed. He then looked around the spaceport. He noticed there were no gates or customs offices. The spaceport was completely open to the surrounding city. "Ah, should we be checking in somewhere?" "Checking in on Eridani III?" The captain gave out a little chuckle. "This isn't Earth or a human colonial world, Mr. Ringo. Nope, no checking in. They have no customs or police." "How do they deal with crime?" Jackie was concerned. The captain pointed to her husband's sidearm. "That is your law enforcement." He then patted his own sidearm. "Very little crime here. All the males are armed. No one messes with anyone, unless they want to be immediately taken out by a mob of law-abiding citizens. You will find they are very much on their best behavior here. Extremely polite, for a good reason. I recommend you do the same. Not only for your own safety. Don't forget, you are the aliens here, and you're representing not only us, but all of humanity. I would never draw first. I am wearing a white hat." Dodge grinned. "I noticed. Just remember that, and you should be fine." The captain saluted and went off to the trade office to check in their cargo and see if their Eridanian products were ready for loading to sell back on Earth. Dodge looked at Jackie's eyes above her veil. "Shall we mingle?" He gestured with his arm to the bustling streets of the alien city that did not have any road vehicles. Everyone was walking on the cobblestone streets. As they walked, the locals all stared at the human couple. "I guess they don't see humans often," Jackie commented, "which is understandable. But have you also noticed something strange about their women?" she asked him as they walked side by side. "All their females have perfect hourglass figures with flat stomachs like snare drums, unlike most human women," he answered. "No, besides that, although I do admit they do have great figures," she replied as they walked further into the city together. "The women and the men." "What about the women and the men? The men look cool, and the women, although oddly dressed, have an unmistakable sensuality about them," he guessed. "Well, yeah, but not that either. For a society that veils their women, The women are all leading the men. Yeah, you're right. He noticed it too. The men were all walking a couple of steps behind their women. She looked to him. I think that is why they are staring at us. It is not just that we're not violet-skinned with white hair and human, but it's because we're walking side by side. I think you're right. It is not like we are the first humans to visit, although perhaps the first human couple. He stopped to look at the address on his handheld. He shook it and tapped it a couple of times. I need directions. Dodge approached a couple and spoke into the device, which then translated out loud in perfect Eridanian. The male said nothing, but the woman's cat-like eyes frowned. She looked at Jackie. Oh, is you o nam saij im kuchib. Her male at the same time seemed ready to draw his sidearm. The device translated her words into Spanish. Dodge, annoyed, reset it back to English. Jackie, you need to set it back to English. What did she say? She said, you let your man talk in public? She snatched the device from his hand. I think I need to do the talking. Jackie stepped forward, in front of Dodge. I apologize. As you can see, we are not of your world. The device in her hand translated, it ao fivem. The woman's eyes smiled as she gestured her man to stand down. The male relaxed his hand from drawing his weapon. The device this time translated into English. All is forgiven. After they got the correct directions, Jackie thanked the woman and led Dodge to the location. 2 hours later. For a spacefaring world, one would think they would have taxis or a subway system in their cities. Jackie complained, being sure the translator was not translating. Perhaps it is why they are so fit. All the walking. Dodge answered her, being sure not to be overheard speaking in public. Jackie looked at all the armed men, all obediently following their women and eyeing the other men. It seems the males are the females' attack dogs kept on a tight leash. Could be a very dangerous planet once a month if that is the case, he whispered to her. She looked at him with disapproving eyes. They may not have periods, she suggested. Good point. I forget that not every planet follows Earth's mammal biology. Checking out the busts of the women they walked by, he added, They are clearly mammals, though. He smiled. There are only 2 mammary glands you should be looking at, she warned him. The most beautiful mammary glands in the known galaxy. He grinned as he thought of her without the top. Are they? She fished for more compliments. He smiled, nodding yes. Good boy. She wanted to grab his arm, but feared any sign of open affection between the sexes may be taboo on this world. This is the place. Dodge stopped as he held up his hand computer to scan the alien sign. The computer automatically visually changed the sign in the picture on his display into English Guru fertility. 1 hour later. Leaving the Guru, Jackie looked pleased, while Dodge looked as if he just bit into a lemon. 20.3 light years, over 4 days in a freighter cabin, and 2 5-pound bags of coffee beans. For what? He then picked up the jug of greenish slime the Guru had given him. He looked at it, disgusted. And I have to drink this once a day for the next 3 months? Eridanian snail slime? She said it tastes like peppermint. Jackie tried to comfort him. And I have to abstain for 3 months? Seriously? Am I not worth the wait? She questioned him. Living with you and not doing it for 3 months? You forget how desirable you are. I am not sure I can contain myself. He was not joking. And she said that you need to be as seductive and sensual as possible for the whole 3 months. This is going to be torture. She wanted to take his arm, but they were out in public again. She knew she should not. It was bad enough they were still walking side by side, and it was clear to the locals she was allowing him to talk with her, even if he could not be overheard. For our baby? Can you do it for me and our baby? Are we not worth the wait? He sighed. Of course you're worth the wait, and our having a baby but 3 months? I'll explode. She smiled over the thought of him exploding. I think that was the point of the guru, that you would explode at the right time in the right place. Fine. Disgruntled, he agreed. This kid better appreciate what I am suffering for him or her. Cheer up. We still have 22 hours to enjoy this alien world. What exciting things can we do here? She asked him. Well, having sex is definitely not one of them, he protested. That evening, the restaurant next to their hotel was different than back in Stamford. It did not have one large dining room with tables. Instead, it was a series of tall, thick-walled cubicles with doors. Within was only one table for two. Their hostess explained through the translator that this allowed Jackie to remove her veil to eat, and that once she left to get their meal, Dodge could talk freely in the privacy of their personal dining space. Jackie asked for a menu. The waitress explained they had none. They would be served a traditional Eridani six-course meal. There were only female waitresses in the restaurant. All wore veils not to reveal themselves to the male customers as they entered the private dining rooms to serve the banquet of dishes. Dodge had to be silent until the waitress left. I have to admit, the food here is almost as good as sex. She frowned. As good as sex? Talking a two-pronged forkful of the local meat and vegetable dish, he chewed and replied, I said almost. How much is this costing us? Half a pound of coffee beans for two, a lot cheaper than back on Earth. She picked up the silver fork to sample the second dish. She closed her eyes as her taste buds savored the flavors. She opened her eyes wide. I see what you mean. The hotel for the night was 1 pound of beans, and you spent 2.5 pounds in shopping today. He looked at the bags of local knickknacks she had picked up piled beside him, which of course he had to haul around after her. Too bad they don't accept HAP credits. How much do we have left? She asked between bites. He stopped his meal for a moment to investigate his backpack. We still have another full bag of beans, and there should be a ½ pound remaining in the open bag. He picked up his backpack with one hand. At least it's a lot lighter than it was before. Her eyes smiled. Yet you still have to carry my shopping. Yeah, which I think actually weighs more. He answered just as the waitress knocked and entered with a third dish, a local fish with feet like fins to climb out of the water. It was baked in a local sweet and sour sauce on a bed of yellow rice like grain. They both dug in and enjoyed the meal. Only ½ pound of beans for all of this? I am starting to think the guru ripped us off. 10 pounds of coffee beans in exchange for a jug of green snail slime? Dodge complained. Don't forget to drink your first 10 milliliters before bed tonight, she reminded him. We can still cuddle, yes? He looked at her with soft, innocent eyes. Only cuddle, she sternly reminded him as she enjoyed the fish. Be sure to continue to Chapter 3, Delta Peconis 3.
To support the author, please like, share, comment, and subscribe.